Hi, I'm Corbett Smith with the Dallas Morning News, sitting alongside Matt Wixon, the award-winning Matt Wixon. And we're here to talk a little bit about games from Week 5. This is a tremendous slate of games on the schedule, Matt. It seems like a lot of district races could be decided here in the first or second weeks of district play for a lot of these districts.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of disappointed because there's so many good games that I'd like to see. Wish we could spread them out a little more, but it is what it is.
Yep, and what it is going to be a smorgasbord of really important football games. Let's talk about the biggest one involving the area's biggest school, and that is Allen. Allen on a 47-game winning streak. They host Flower Mound Marcus, who's unbeaten and who has looked very impressive. Caden Smith, their tight end, has looked great. Their running attack does look solid. Last week's defensive performance against Hebron was really a standout show. They held Hebron to -1 yards in the first half. This should be a really interesting matchup and a good gauge of where Marcus is in the pecking order there in District 6-6A.
Yeah, so do you think they can hold Allen to negative yardage that first half this week?
Maybe the first drive.
Maybe the first drive, okay. Well, I don't think they need to set the goals that high. But Marcus's defense has been really good, and I think it's gonna be key for them this week. I mean, they've got to rely on that defense to slow Allen down a few times and then give the ball to their offense and control things. With Hopkins, their running back, and Caden Smith, their great tight end. I think it's kind of a simplistic view of it, but I think it really is the strategies for success or for the upset this week is to shorten the game with their offense, limit the amount of drives that Allen has, don't make mistakes, and then can they hang in there against Allen?
You cannot turn the ball over like PlayDoh did last week in a 65-0 loss to Allen. 8 turnovers in that, 3 of which were returned for touchdowns. You cannot have that type of performance against any team, but especially not a team as potent as Allen.
Yeah, because I think that game was, I don't want to say close, but I mean, PlayDoh was at least within striking distance, and it was reasonable in the first half. Once those turnovers started happening, against a good team, they're going to get away. Against an elite team like Allen, it's over.
Now, that's not the only big game this week. How about this game in the Arlington District, 4-6A? You've got Arlington Martin and Arlington Lamar squaring off. These two teams have been the district favorites for the last couple of seasons. Lamar looking good with Shane Buechele at quarterback, and they've got a lot of other options as well. Martin has fallen down a little bit after their huge win to start the season against DeSoto, but you've got to like the chances of whoever winning this game making a nice run in that district.
Yeah, I agree. I think Arlington Bowie has a chance too. They've really shown up the last few weeks. But when Martin won that opener against DeSoto, I thought, okay, clearly Martin is the favorite in this district. And now Martin's struggled a little bit. They've played tough teams, but they haven't looked the same as that first week, which was a really inspired victory over DeSoto. And now this is a really tough game for me to call. Lamar has kind of been the opposite. That first week they won a squeaker against a Richland team that's had some problems, and so I had some questions about them. But they've kind of gained some momentum and they look really good now. This probably will be the game that determines District 4 success.
Now, there's some other districts that are a little bit more cloudy as far as the picture in their district race, but certainly games of significance. How about this opener between McKinney North and Justin Madubuike, their strong defensive tackle, and Eno Benjamin and Wiley East, a team that's run the ball tremendously successful throughout the course of the season. That should be a really interesting matchup as far as that district race goes.
Yeah, I've heard so many great things about both of them. I mean, Eno Benjamin's been putting up huge numbers for Wiley East, and Madubuike is kind of this, hearing from a coach saying, he's almost impossible to block.
Right.
He just blows things up. So we'll get a good sense really early in that game. Can Wiley East do what they want to do against that defense, or will McKinney North, dominate up front and really cause problems?
If you like rushing attacks, how about this one out of 9-5A, and that is Frisco versus Frisco Centennial. Both these teams are going to run the ball, and have done so over the course of the start of the early season. Anthony Pegues, certainly a guy to watch for at Centennial. Games of note throughout the course of this week. You've got Denton, Geyer, and Keller. Big game there out of that district. That's on Thursday night, as is Saxe and Garland. Garland has shown a propensity to throw the ball, which is something that's they haven't done in years past. They're going to have to score some points against a high-powered Saxe offense.
Yeah, Jacoby Williams, Garland's quarterback, set a school record with 5 touchdown passes in a game last week when they beat Naaman Forest. Of course, a lot of people say 5 touchdown passes, that's a school record. We're talking Garland. They're a little more of a grinder, but they have produced some good quarterbacks. Right now they got Seth Russell at Baylor. He's the starter. But you're right. As far as playing Saxe, Garland's going to have to score some points, whether they're running or Jacoby Williams is throwing. They're going to have to score some points because Saxe has been lighting it up. I'm not sure about Saxe's defense. They're giving up a lot of points too, but it should be a really fun game.
North Mesquite and Highland Park, they travel to Highland Park, a program that is very proud, and they had their winning streak at home snapped a couple of weeks ago. That'll be a really interesting test for North Mesquite, Jaquez Gooch, Dreshawn Manyweather, as to whether that offense can continue to succeed. They're 3-0 right now, but they haven't played a team the caliber of Highland Park.
Yeah, and Highland Park's a little bit down this year, it appears, but they're playing at Highland Park. Highland Park just had that long streak snap, their home winning streak, so they're going to be pretty inspired to come out there. And this is a real chance for North Mesquite to show people, hey, this is our year, that we are something. You know, that record isn't kind of fraudulent, being 3-0, because they haven't played real tough teams or really tough teams. But they beat Highland Park at Highland Park, and people are going to notice.
14-5A, the district that everybody kind of looks at as being one of the strongest in the state. They've got 3 really important games this week. You've got Waxahachie, who's kind of rubbing its, licking its wounds after giving up 73 points to Mansfield Legacy in a loss last week. They have to face the #1 team in our area in Mansfield Lake Ridge. You have Mansfield Summit and Mansfield Legacy facing off on Friday night. And then you've got a team that also is coming off back-to-back losses in Lancaster. But granted, those losses were to Lake Ridge and Euless Trinity, but they host a very dangerous Mansfield Timberview team. All 3 of those games have huge playoff implications.
Yeah, every game in that district seems to have huge playoff implications because the district's so deep. There's probably 6, maybe 7 teams that are worthy playoff teams in that district, and of course they're only going to get 4. They don't get a special allotment, the power district allotment to get an extra team. But that's a big game for Lancaster. Like you said, they've lost 2 in a row. Even though one was out of district to Euless Trinity, you don't want to lose 3 in a row. And boy, your momentum just comes to a halt. Absolutely.
This is a huge week of football here in the North Texas area. So if you like high school football, make sure that you go out and catch a game. For Matt Wixon, I'm Corbett Smith. Thanks for watching and enjoy the week.